Hi, I'm Any New Province, and this is Net Benefits, the series where we explore the benefits of net decking in Pauper. Today we're playing Dimir Alchemy, or more specifically the Dimir Alchemy list that Mandark took to a second place finish in the Pauper Challenge this weekend. Dimir Alchemy is one of the hardest control decks in Pauper. It really tries to lock the opponent out of the game and then win with its single win condition, Gurmag Angler. Some versions of this deck run Delver of Secrets, but Mandark chose to just run the single win condition. I'm looking forward to trying to stabilize the board, turn the corner, and then attack our opponent 4 times with Gurmags. Before I get into the deck tech, I just want to remind you that you can like the video or subscribe to the channel down below. I'd seriously appreciate it. It's a great way to let me know that you're enjoying everything, and it really encourages me to keep making great Pauper content. Forbidden Alchemy is the namesake card of this deck. It's a great way to fill your graveyard for the other synergies in Dimir Alchemy, but it's also a good source of card filtering and advantage. Forbidden Alchemy says, look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. You can flash it back out of your graveyard to use it again for 6 and a black mana. The other key source of card advantage in this deck is Accumulated Knowledge. It costs 1 and a blue, it's an instant, and it says, draw a card, then draw cards equal to the number of cards named Accumulated Knowledge in all graveyards. It's helpful to be able to cast this at the end of your opponent's turn because we'll be leaving up mana for our other instant speed answers. It's also great because we can just mill a few with Forbidden Alchemy and then start drawing 3 and 4 off the ones we draw. Our next card isn't necessarily card advantage, and it doesn't synergize as well with Forbidden Alchemy, but it is one of the most powerful card filtering spells available in blue that's always online. Preordain costs 1 blue, it's a sorcery, and it says scry 2, draw a card. Our last card filtering spell makes up 4 of the 8 damage dealing cards in our deck, and we're not trying to win on the mill plan. It's Augur of Bolas that costs 1 and a blue and says, when Augur of Bolas enters the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal an instant or sorcery card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. It's a 1/3. Our last creature spell is Gurmag Angler. Gurmag Angler is a 7 mana 5/5 with Delve. Delve says each card you exile from your graveyard while casting this spell pays for 1. This is how we're going to win most of our games. All you have to do is attack with Gurmag Angler a few times to kill your opponent. The rest of the cards in our deck facilitate this by making sure our opponent doesn't have any creatures to get in the way. So how are we going to get rid of those pesky beaters and dorks on the other side of the battlefield? First, we've got Disfigure. Disfigure costs 1 black and says target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. It's an instant. We also have 1 Ghastly Demise that costs 1 black and says destroy target non-black creature if its toughness is less than or equal to the number of cards in your graveyard. We're putting a lot of cards in our graveyard with Forbidden Alchemy, so I could see this killing some pretty huge dudes. We also have 2 Tragic Slip that say target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, which doesn't seem that great, but it has Morbid, which says that creature gets -13/-13 until end of turn. Instead, if a creature died this turn, we're going to be killing a lot of creatures, so we can keep this online. We have 1 Echoing Decay. Echoing Decay is 1 and a black for an instant, and it says target creature and all other creatures with the same name as that creature get -2/-2 until end of turn. This is great on your opponent's Mulldrifters. If a couple can resolve, it can kill a ton of tokens, and if your opponent's on the Legion Conquistador plan, it can kill all of those. We have 2 Doomblades that say destroy target non-black creature. It's 1 and a black for an instant, kills all the non-black creatures, and we have 3 Chainer's Edicts. Only 3 because it's a little expensive to flash back. Chainer's Edict is 1 and a black for a sorcery that says target player sacrifices a creature. It flashes back for 5 black. We have answers for almost every kind of creature once they hit the board, but if we need to keep them in our opponent's hands or counter some non-creature spells, we have counter spells to do that. We have Counterspell, which is blue, counter target spell, and Prohibit, which says, Kicker 2, you may pay an additional 2 mana as you cast this spell. It usually only costs 1 and a blue. It says counter target spell if its converted mana cost is 2 or less. If Prohibit was kicked, counter that spell if its converted mana cost was 4 or less. I'm really glad to see that this is the 6 counter spells in this deck. This is a counter spell package I'm very familiar with, and I use it a lot when I'm brewing. I highly recommend it. Alright, let's have a look at this mana base. First, we have Bojuka Bog. It enters the battlefield tapped and says, when Bojuka Bog enters the battlefield, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. It adds 1 black mana when it's untapped. Bojuka Bog is a really great utility land. When we're filling up our opponent's graveyard, we don't want to give them a chance to recur any of those spells. We have 3 Dimir Aqueducts that enter the battlefield tapped and say, when Dimir Aqueduct enters the battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand. This is really great for getting us to continue making our land drops, and it also helps fix our mana. We have 1 Dimir Guild Battlefield Gate. This isn't one of your standard Pauper duels, but it's added for a little bit of consistency. It enters the battlefield tapped and adds black or blue when it becomes untapped. We have 4 Dismal Backwater standard Pauper duels. Enter the battlefield tapped, gain you some life, and they give you blue and black when they come untapped. We have 8 islands and we have 5 swamps. I promise I'm going to fix the mismatched lands before we end up going into a league. Alright, let's have a look at this sideboard. First, we have 2 Hydroblasts. This is great when our counter spells are too inefficient to hit a lot of our opponent's burn spells, or red spells like Atog and Fling. Maybe sometimes we're killing a Nivix Cyclops. We have 2 Negates when our opponent is super heavy on non-creature spells. Negate just counters any non-creature spell. We have 2 Stormbound Geists when our opponent is also trying to remove our creatures, or maybe we need something to get in the way of a Delver. We have 2 Diabolic Edicts. Diabolic Edict says target player sacrifices a creature. It's an instant. It doesn't get us as much value as Chainer's Edict does, but sometimes we need more removal than we already have. We have 2 Shrivels that say all creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. This will come in conjunction with our Echoing Decay to help that out. We have 4 Vidalian Zombies that cost blue and a black and say protection from green. They're 2/2s. These are bears that are really great against blocking stompy creatures, and they can also start getting in for damage a little bit earlier than our big guys. We have 2 Nihil Spellbombs that say sacrifice Nihil Spellbomb, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. When it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay black. If you do, draw a card. We don't want to nuke both graveyards because we're trying to flash back a lot of spells. And there you have it, Dimir Alchemy. Mandark must have finished up meddling in Dexter's laboratory affairs before they took it to a great finish in the Pauper Challenge this weekend. We're going to take it into a league at twitch.tv/anynewprovince and see if we can get some good results. We're there every Monday night playing competitive Pauper decks. Before I go, I just want to remind you that you can like the video or subscribe to the channel down below. I'd seriously appreciate it. It's a great way to let me know that you're enjoying everything, and it really encourages me to keep making great Pauper content. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you like my deck tech on Dimir Alchemy, and hopefully I'll see you on Monday night.